authenticity and transparency are the two chapters in the book that a lot of traditional business people have the hardest time with. I think that traditionally we haven't thought about business in terms of the importance of being authentic. But what's happened is social media and just the changing sort of face of communications have made it harder and harder to not be authentic. It's made it harder and harder to hide who you are. And the more you are authentic, and we talked about this earlier in terms of storytelling, the more you are able to be authentic and to be vulnerable, the better. And a lot of leaders have a tough time with this. They don't want to show their vulnerable side. They don't want to show their super personal side. But I have found in terms of running likable media that the more authentic I am, the more vulnerable I am, even if it means, I told a story in the book about how we had a company outing and on a retreat to Miami, we had 35 people there, and I learned some really tough personal news, and I drank way too much that night, and I could have easily sort of tried to sweep it under the rug, but we started off the next morning, and I was totally authentic, and I would say pretty vulnerable about it. I said, you know what, I drank way too much last night. I'm embarrassed about it. I screwed up. I'm sorry. I wasn't the leader that you needed me to be and that you need me to be, and I recognize that, and I'm sorry. And it's amazing. I certainly didn't plan it, and I certainly wouldn't plan it if I did it again, but what happened was just the fact that I was able to be that vulnerable and that authentic in my sort of admission about a mistake made me that much more endearing to our team. And people want to work for somebody they believe in. People want to work for somebody they understand. And if you're not authentic, if you try to pull like a whole this is business sort of thing, you're not going to endear yourself in the same way. And so as difficult I think as it is, as difficult as it was for me to sort of swallow my pride and say, you know what, I was an idiot, and I get that, and I'm sorry. I added more to the team and made me somebody that they wanted to work and perform for even more.
Yeah, and you just can't spin reality, can you, nowadays? There's no way for anybody who's in the public eye to pull that off. I mean, look at all of the pop stars and movie stars and the problems they're having right now. If they just say, hey, look, this is who I am, they get along way better with their audiences and their fans.
Exactly. I mean, now is the time to embrace authenticity and transparency. Say, this is who I am, warts and all, and be okay with that. And I do think again, it's a real hard concept for folks to get a hold of. But I think once you do it, I mean, that's the other thing, is that not only is it good business principle, it's just a good life principle. It makes it easier to sleep at night. You don't have to worry about trying to have two Facebook accounts for one for personal, one for professional, or two Twitter accounts. You can just be who you are, and I just think it's an easier way to live. I mean, I don't ever have to worry about what I said to what person in what context, because I'm literally the same person whether I am in a boardroom with a bunch of CEOs or at home with my wife and kids. It's just an easier way to be.
The transparency piece is absolutely imperative, right? Because of the fact that, I mean, especially online. What happened? The guy who runs CEO of Whole Foods, right, came on, started doing commenting online like he was someone else, and I'll tell you, people sniff that stuff in 2 seconds, right? And they jump all over it. Not only do they jump all over it, it's like, man, they're all over you like a dog on a bone, right? As soon as that stuff happens, so.
Exactly. There's just no hiding anymore. I mean, you can try to keep it up for a while, but eventually it's gonna get you back, and even worse than had you done nothing at all. So anyone that's tempted to try to sort of beat the system these days, I would just really warn you that any lack of transparency or lack of authenticity does end up biting you in the ass in the long run.
Yep.